YouTube, it's been 5 minutes. Unbox this thing right now. Brian Phillips here, coming to you with something all new. My knife is evidently defective. What the heck is going on with this?
The tape.
No, it's not the tape. It's the knife. So we're gonna unbox this thing. We're gonna put it in the air and we're gonna show you if it's worth getting, or at least our opinion of that. And it's gonna be amazing. And yes, you already know what it is, but we kind of don't yet, because we got to see what this thing is. It's going to be amazing. I can already see the model number, but there's more coming, so I'm not going to say anything yet. It's kind of brown packaging, looks pretty simple. Ooh, what do we have here? An MD500, the C184. That is so cool. Gyro stabilized helicopter in a ready to fly configuration. We've seen a few from RC era. And look, they've given us a sneak preview. I don't know if they're gonna actually offer them in these other colors, but evidently they have the packaging for it, so they must be planning on it. We're gonna open this right now. We're gonna get it ready to fly, and we are gonna fly it inside. It is designed to be inside flight or very light wind, according to the manufacturer, and we did not have very light wind today.
Nor do we ever, it seems like.
It seems like anymore. Every time we need to film, it's about 4 trillion miles an hour.
Yeah.
All right, so QR code. We'll have links to buy this in the video description below, like usual. They sent a snack pack. Just kidding, kids, don't eat it. And then USB-A to USB-C. I guess that's probably gonna be for charging. And if it's like some of the other RC era flight packs, it will be specific to the heli. I do like the packaging. It's very easy to get out, but it's not super heavy duty. Oh yes, that is sweet looking. I love the colors and I love the 4 blades. Now it's not 5 blades like the other helicopters we've seen in the MD500 size class, but I gotta love the T-tail. This is so beautiful. And I gotta say, I love the way the skids look. They're extra long and protrude forward. We have the steps on here. Very super scale looking. And yes, is that a light? Oh yeah, it's a light, sweet. Oh, cool. Super exciting, look at this guys. Even right here, we have the texture, the ventilation, and there's ventilation around all of these windows, which is really nice. We haven't seen that before. Rivet marks. Absolutely beautiful. Can't wait to see how this flies. And this has A on all the blades, but it looks like it's a fixed pitch blade, but I don't know if that means it's collective pitch or not. I honestly can't tell yet. Historically, this style has not been, you know, like you can't fly it upside down, okay? So we have sticks that go to the center. We have a speed 1, 2, 3, just like the Bell 206, and a few of the others that we've done. And of course, you do have to provide some batteries here. It looks like probably the 4 AA's is what we're used to seeing. Yep, 4 AA, so we'll be getting those shortly. And in the meantime, we'll just throw out all this good stuff and get the battery charging. That's one thing. Comes with a little kit, tail rotor, main rotors, but only 2. Don't understand why they wouldn't include 4. They can't be that expensive. But I gotta say, I love the fact that they have these little painted lines that are gonna look sick in the air, and then yellow on the top, beautiful. Okay, so first things first, without further ado, we're gonna go ahead and charge the battery. We're gonna show you exactly how this works. These are the integral specific batteries. The only thing I like about these specific batteries is you don't need any expertise to use them. They have a literal power switch on top of them, and there's a little red light that activates. This one's gonna be custom fit to the heli, and it looks like it has 1, 2, 3, 4 pins. So it's probably a 3S, which is very weird. Or it's just a small 2S. Now, keep in mind, you have to provide your own USB plug, okay? So that'd be USB-A to USB-C. If we didn't already mention that, we'll plug into a regular wall jack. And this is currently on, so you'll want to turn that off and plug it in. So it just plugs in, and then you'll see it goes to a red light. Now, one of my big gripes with these custom sized batteries is that when you display the Heli, the battery can be installed, but I never seem to want to keep the batteries installed. So another RC era product, one of my favorites right here, very economical. I don't ever have the batteries installed. So what that does is it leads me to a little bit of a conflict because I have to go find the battery. But you can technically turn off the battery pack and still have it physically inserted into the Heli, okay? So just a couple of thoughts. My take on helicopters, airplanes, and batteries is that you want to typically take the batteries out of the aircraft. You're going to be better and safer if you can do that. There's some of you that are going to leave the battery installed and powered off. There's going to be bleed through, I guarantee it. So, not a big deal, not a deal breaker one way or the other. Packaging will go back together, which is really nice. And that's usually what we do with Helis because they're easy enough to store. It's kind of like a small RC car box or whatever. And so we do usually keep this packaging, which is real nice because then you can get this stored up. You put it on a bookshelf or in storage really nice. So that's one of the things we do like about helicopters. Now, I gotta also say, because this is a ready to fly, you don't need to provide anything except you do, okay? When they come from China, they usually don't include AA's. When they come from an American distributor, a lot of times they do, but really we're talking about a couple dollars worth of cost difference, and this is an economical solution. So keep in mind, when you follow the links, you'll help support Brian Phillips RC. We do make small commissions on that, and that's how we fund a lot of these huge projects, like we're building the damn gift shop right now, and we had the builder here today. So super exciting. We're gonna grab some batteries and come right back. All right, so 4 AA's, kind of goes without saying how this goes. The flat part's gonna go to the spring. The little bump is gonna go opposite. If you guys are brand new to the hobby and you need help like figuring out how to put in your AA's, my suggestion is watch the entire Unbox Build radio setup, which means you're gonna spend a considerable amount of time with us. And so welcome to Brian Phillips RC. We're gonna help you have the full truth, nothing but the truth, so help us God, as we get you out of the chair and into the air. That's what we do for people that are returning to the hobby. We wanna teach you what you need to know, but also for people that are brand new to the hobby, we're gonna bring you into the fold. So turn this thing on. You can see you have this little flashing light. It's trying to bind with one of the receivers, okay? So in this case, I'll shut that back off until we're ready. We also have the 3 speed settings, so you'll hear beep and beep, beep, beep. So it's gonna be like beep, 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 beep. Sometimes they beep, sometimes they don't. You have one-touch landing and takeoff, which is very interesting. Now remember, this is not gonna be like a hobby grade flight experience, but it's getting better and better as we go. And look at this. One of the ways that these Helis are working better is with this thing. It's a small, tiny camera that they look for all your bank account numbers and steal your social, I'm just kidding. They don't do any of that crap. They look at the ground. It's called an optical flow sensor, and it helps to hold altitude, but it's much cheaper than a barometer or barometric sensor, okay? So the barometric sensor is gonna hold altitude by sensing the difference in barometric pressure, and yes, they do it really good. But they're also considerably more expensive, like to the tune of 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 15, 20 times more than this, okay? And this is gonna be very easy and safer to fly inside because as you can see, if you were to hit something, these will just fold out of the way. But then just remember, there'll be 1 following it, and then 2 following it, and then 3 following it, and then 4 following it. So it's like, imagine this, if it hurts once, it's going to hurt hundreds of times by the time you lose enough inertia to fall to the ground. That's the theory. That's what my wall says right here. Feast your eyes, okay? This type of helicopter, it was probably a little bit faster blades, a little bit bigger. Okay, so inside the manual, they do have a manual. It's actually not terrible. First things first, do not stick your battery directly into the household outlet.
That would be pretty hard to do.
So like I said, if you're brand new to the hobby, we'll try to get you up to speed and not make fun of you for doing stupid things like plugging the battery directly into the outlets. I don't think anybody's dumb enough to do that. Gyro cal would be down and out together. And after a few seconds, it'll beep, you'll hear feedback. And then this is nice. They show you how the board is laid out. Now I'm not gonna pull this board out, but But if you ever do have to service one of these helicopters, whether it's from RC Air or a competitive brand, you can usually get at like 4,000 little screws, and then the halves come apart. Some helicopters, like the bigger ones that we've seen from some of the competitive offerings, have the entire assembly inside, and it's like has to get pulled out. These are a little bit easier to do, but we've also not had the experience of needing to fix these, because the truth is, even though they do sometimes, you know, mar the drywall, and they will cut you if you get them at the right angle, they don't have a ton of power behind them. Okay, so you're gonna be a little bit safer. Just mostly stay a couple of meters away from yourself. Keep like a body length away if you don't know what you're doing. Also, if you have gigantic fans blowing air around, you might want to turn that off. If you have an HVAC system and you can put it on hold, you'll have less movement in the air, and you'll have the best possible experience. I don't shut any of that crap off. I turn the fan up when I fly. Yeah. So there's also LEDs on here, front LED and tail LED, which is kind of cool. So that's all there and accessible. Okay. Trimming notes. Warning, maintaining flying altitude above 1 meter for trimming. Okay, whatever. This tells you how to take things apart if you need to take them apart. It does look like the tail skids are separate, left and right, which is kind of nice. And then they have an exploded view diagram to show you all the components, parts, and whatnot. And then as you can see, they've flipped the landscape just to really annoy you.
Did you skip the page about what all the buttons do on the transmitter?
I did. I did that intentionally because we're going to end there. Okay? Be careful. That's bacon. Is delicious. Do not pee into boxes or light your farts on fire.
Where do you pack your lunch?
I don't know. They didn't say anything about boskage either.
I'm hungry.
All right, so shut that back off for now. So as you look, there's a flight speed. So this just has to do with like how much you're going to be moving when you tip the sticks. This will take you forward, to the right, to the left, to the back. It just leans the helicopter. So if you imagine this would just like consider the pitch and the roll axis. Of course, when you roll a helicopter, it's going to pull you that way. When you roll a helicopter, it's going to pull you. When you pitch the forward, it's going to go forward. When you pitch back, it's going to go backward. But it's not going to coordinate your turns on the tail. You have to use this to coordinate your turn. So a lot of times, the trick is when you're learning to fly, you'll lean forward to start moving, and then you'll kind of move both sticks a little bit. And what that's going to do is it's going to move the tail as you lean, and it's going to look super real. You can't do that, sorry. Not on this one. There are helicopters you can fly upside down that are small like this, but I don't believe this one's going to go upside down. How do I know it's not going to go upside down? Because the ones that go upside down are a little bit more expensive, and also they have more pitch mechanism. This one has a small fly-barless controller, but it's not collective pitch that I can tell, because collective pitch has a different type of assembly. And I can give you guys an example of a little bit more robust one. This one here has a little bit more robust system, and you can see it's kind of hard to tell the difference, but this has a pitch on the top and the bottom. It's going to be like a symmetrical blade, okay? So now keep in mind, RC Era has a huge line of really nice small helicopters. I would love to see what they do next. And I would love to see them do some bigger ones, because they do a really good job on these, okay? That being said, let's go ahead and look at the battery. I doubt it's fully charged, and it says right in the manual, do not fly on less than 1,000,000% battery. But we're gonna break all the rules today.
That anyway.
We're gonna unplug this. We're gonna unplug this. We're gonna put it away safely next to our safely stored lipos.
Yes.
Oh, by the way, I know some of you guys are wondering, will that plug into my ordinary run-of-the-mill USB cable that I already had? The answer to that question is I don't know. Let's find out. We're just gonna stick this in. We use this to charge our pepper grinder, which is very important. So when you're done charging the pepper grinder, okay, charge the pepper grinder. Oh yeah, it's charging. Can you charge your helicopter? The answer is yes.
Nice.
Okay, the reason I showed you that is because USB-C cables and some USB micro cables we have found do not have the same carrier lines for power on these.
And you can order that with, I think, up to 3 batteries.
Ours came with 1. Evidently, we got the reject model. Just kidding. We're happy with 1. So look at this, guys. We're gonna slide this in. You can see there's the receptacle that receives the power from this right there. And it's just like the other ones we've done in the past. I would recommend leaving that off when you're inserting your battery so as to mitigate the risk of getting hurt. Very easy to remove by pressing down on this and pulling out. That's one of the easiest removals we've seen from these RC era helicopters. And I have to say this because we do a lot of helicopters, airplanes, quads, VTOLs, leaf blowers, and tractors here on Brian Phillips RC, as well as excavators, bulldozers, boats. Haven't done a submarine yet.
Subliminally.
But we do have an over 6 foot battleship coming soon. It's gonna be very cool. It's huge. Okay, you ready? We're gonna stick our finger on the button, okay? We're gonna press and hold this. It's gonna wake up. Now, normally I say turn that on second because you always wanna have full control, but not necessarily on these helis, okay? Up then down, that is going to go through the binding process. We have a beautiful solid light and we have a beautiful solid light. And the beautiful part is that we can now fly this. And that's what we're gonna do right this second. Let me put this next to my melons. Those oranges just seem more exciting. Now, this is gonna tell the tale. Those lights go up and down. There's a counterweight. We designed it that way, but then we mounted giant balls because my wife likes them. All right, you ready?
Yes.
Taking off landing. Hey, didn't hit. It wouldn't have hit.
Nope, that was good.
Wow, that is awesome. Okay, first of all, I'm just gonna say, I touched one button, guys. Look. Look, Mom, no hands.
I see that.
I touched no buttons. And there it flies. Now there's a bear, this is trying to find the ground, okay? So it's gonna freak out if you get under there because the optical flow sensor is gonna see a change in topography, okay? Now I'm gonna rotate it. That is full stick condition, okay? That is really tight. It didn't drift off really bad. We just did one the other day for a competitive brand and it was trying to attack me just now. We did one for a competitive brand and man, that tail looks so good. And the thing wanted to walk everywhere. That is right. Ugh, it's kind of pushing back now. Okay, if it starts pushing back, you can change the trim. Like I'm gonna trim it forward intentionally. 1, 2, okay, 3, 4, 5, just moving that rocker up. Okay, so now it's kind of drifting forward. Now I'm gonna lean it to the right. I'm gonna lean it to the left. The position is diagonal. Did you notice that? I'm gonna go forward. I'm gonna coordinate. Okay, I'm gonna slow down. Now, you see got into a self-induced oscillation there. Okay? It's kind of fly-by suggestion to a certain extent because it feels like now it's wanting to rotate. You see that? That's full speed. It does pretty good when you're moving. I love that this red light is so bright it lights up the whole tail. And I love the livery. It's a metallic blue. Ugh. Gotta say, definitely a little bit of fly-by suggestion here. Let's see if I can land it, okay? I don't dislike the looks of it, but it is definitely a little bit all over the place, okay? You wanna know why it's all over the place, hon?
Because you didn't turn your fan off?
No.
No. Why?
Okay, now I'm gonna hit the landing key. No, I'm gonna just hold the down stick.
Okay.
Man, I love that they painted the tips. Oh, it's so good because the optical flow sensor tells it to hit something. Couple things, couple notes. Over water optical flow sensors freak out. But also over certain solid colored planes like snow, some types of concrete that's very clean might also not be great. If there's enough texture, like this counter's good, the wood floor's good, this is probably good, but I just want to point out something. See how it's freaking out? There's a lot of air current issues here, okay? A lot of different heights, a lot of different movement. If I went out of ground effect, I think I'd be better. So, a couple different things. Let's calibrate the gyro, down and over. Oh yeah, we calibrated the gyro. Let's see if that helps. I'm gonna press this to go. I'm gonna just try and see if it spins when I do this. Yes, it does. Now that it's spooled up, that was sticks down and out. Now I'm gonna press the up stick. Oh yeah. I don't like that it launches so high, but when it launches high like that, it still looks pretty dang cool. Man, that's so nice. Definitely a little bit eager on the controls for being in the slowest mode. Okay, now I'm gonna go to a higher speed mode. Camera crew's gonna go to the other end.
Okay.
Right there, that's good. Now I'm gonna go to speed 2. We're just going to 3, okay? So going up a little bit. Seems to be okay. It definitely lets you lean. I don't know why they were so worried about flying outside. I think this thing would do okay outside. Definitely a little hesitation on the elevation change. Definitely have to be on it, okay? Now, I can tell you this from personal experience. This thing is probably going to do okay if it were to fall, but I don't want to find out because it's so dang gorgeous. One thing I can also say is I don't feel a big speed difference between 1 and 3. I'm gonna go to 2 and just see what happens. So there's 2, and there was a double beep. There's 3, there's 1, then 2, then 3. Okay, so now in 2, the speed you haven't seen yet, and I'm giving about 50%, about 25 to 50% input on the sticks. If you coordinate your turns, you can make it look really good. The problem is, it just kind of wonks out a little bit. When you let go, see what happens? It just kind of keeps flying. So you have to arrest your own movement, okay? So I'm gonna slow it down by pulling back on the sticks. Now let's give them a shot of me, hey, back here.
Oh, your hands?
Let's show them the hands, okay? Because this is where you really tell the tale. Is this hard to fly? First things first, I'm gonna tell you this right now. Definitely it's struggling with the finite controls in ground effect, okay? Because we are, make no mistake, we're in ground effect, okay? So right here, we're out of ground effect. I'm gonna go to 1, 1, okay? The thing holds its position very nice, and then look at it walk off. That was just yaw authority. So you see this, when I yaw, it's like I'm gonna go forward a lot, okay? When I bring it down, it does pretty good. Now I'm gonna yaw, I'm gonna give it a little bit of roll authority just so I can try to coordinate it, make it look good, pull back on the stick a little, and you can really get a tight movement, okay? Which is pretty cool, but then it just kind of, whoa! See, it just keeps in the movement. And that's one thing you'll wanna watch out for. Now, is it hard to fly? I'm not gonna say it's especially hard to fly, it's just that I understand that this helicopter is likely not going to hurt my light fixture, okay? If it were to hit, it wouldn't be the end of the world. Do I want to hit my light fixture? Not really, because my wife is on the other side of the camera and she will be not too pleased about it. Okay, now going backward, a little bit of down. It gets wonkadelic going backward, guys. I think what's happening is that you just have a lot of prop wash and it gets into its own turbulent air. And you'll see that on some helicopters, and there's actually phenomenon like this in real helicopters. I'm gonna see what this does. It's resisting. Jeez. And then when I let go, what happens? It comes out of it pretty good. Now, by the way, if you guys are gonna do stupid things like Enrique your helicopters like I just did, hence I grabbed it, just be careful to get it back to the same position, pull away safely. I wouldn't recommend doing that if you don't know what you're doing. It's not really a hard thing to do. Not trying to toot my own horn, I just don't want you guys to get hurt. And by the way, I gotta say, the thing looks fantastic. It does a pretty good job holding its position when I let off the sticks, but it doesn't get there fast, okay? So, if you guys are brand new to Brian Phillips RC and you're not sure if this is your thing, just remember, this is a cheap, kind of an entry-level sort of fun, but not necessarily, it's not gonna teach you to learn to fly helicopters the way that some might, okay? But it's gonna give you a really good experience because it's fun, it's not super expensive, it's a low stress environment, and you see when you get close, you can put it down. That I like, see you gotta hold it for a second, then it eventually disengages the throttle, otherwise it'll bounce back up, okay? So, couple things. First of all, I wanna get myself where we can try to possibly grab a thumbnail. But just check this out, guys. Oh, by the way, I don't know if you guys ever, I don't ever talk about this because it's a little inside baseball, but if you're regular on Brian Phillips RC, our thumbnails are always live samplings of our videos. I don't think there's ever been a time that we didn't have a thumbnail that was real footage from a real video, because that's about serving an audience with truth. I feel like people constantly adding fake crap in their thumbnails, and I just hate it. It drives me nuts. We might put an arrow, but it's always real. We're never trying to clickbait you. We might put a micro Draco like in a spot where it looks like it's bigger, or a big Draco where it's, you know, but it's all real. Look at this, how real it looks. Look at the features you're getting for a super low price. And I gotta say, beautiful tail, beautiful skids, absolutely gorgeous to have the lights. And yes, it sits in the palm of your hand. Can you ask for more? Maybe. And here's what I'm gonna say, because I am always gonna tell you my full truth, nothing but the truth. And sometimes that's my opinion. And in this case, I can say this: the looks make up for any indisparity in flight performance. But for some of you, that's not gonna be true, okay? So yes, this thing looks the part. It does a really nice job. And we've gotten a really long flight time, and it was not at 100%.
No.
Okay? The fact that it's near ready to fly, we're gonna call them ready to fly. It's obviously gonna be sub 250, but let's go ahead and put it on the kitchen scale so that we can verify it. All up weight needs to be sub 250 to be legal without remote ID. If you put a remote ID in this, you're gonna be in a world of hurt, because it's so light. It's only 98 grams, 99 grams. All up with battery, it's obviously on. So you're definitely legal to fly it without remote ID and outside of a FRIA. So if you're flying it for recreational purposes, not that you guys care, and I don't want you guys to have to care. I think it's ridiculous, but at the same time, I want you to know you'll be compliant if you fly this. The other thing too is when you're inside, you're gonna get an opportunity to fly this thing, and you never really have to worry. I mean, you could fly a 1,000-pound helicopter inside, because if you're inside, it doesn't matter. Right. You can do whatever you want then. But who's gonna fly a 1,000-pound helicopter? So this thing is fantastic. I love the size, I love the shape. I tend to come back to, when you have more detailed tail feathers, especially ones that move like this, you're gonna tend to have a little bit of a compromise in the flight performance. We have seen it on other helicopters before, especially with simulated ducted fans, and we do tend to see a little bit more out of controlness. Is it enough to make it a bad flying helicopter? No, but I'm gonna just tell you something. I don't know why, but there is something about this little Bell 206 that is just amazing. It flies super good. It's also got 2 blades, and it's a little bit bigger, okay? Now it's bigger, meaning if you look at the flight control system on this compared to that, look at how much bigger this is. It doesn't seem like a lot, but it is a little bit bigger. And for whatever reason, this one just handles the air molecules a little bit better, and you have just a slightly easier flight time, okay? That is why we do this, because at the end of the day, if you're looking to learn to fly a helicopter, I probably still wouldn't even recommend something awesome like this, because there is a certain amount, an element to the GPS heli drone, or to something like this that's gonna be awesome, because you don't need to be an expert pilot. But are you gonna learn to fly helicopters in an RC environment with something like that? Are you gonna need to get a helicopter that's hobby grade for that? The answer is yes, hobby grade. There are many helicopters we've done over the years that will they will keep you from having to completely replace the helicopter in 5 minutes of flight or 30 seconds of flight, while still teaching you how to fly. And you can have an idle up mode, or a stunt 1 or stunt 2 or something like that, similar to what we just did recently. And I just wanna make sure that you guys understand that when you get into something like this, it's so inexpensive, there are gonna be some limits. The limits are gonna be, it's gonna fly a lot like the little Christmas drones you get. But this thing is so much better in so many different ways, and I don't mean to take away from how good these helicopters are getting, and they really are good. They are really good, but they are really still gonna need you to pilot them. And that is one of the reasons why I'm concerned you're gonna get your everyday Joe is gonna come in here and do this. He's gonna take off in a living room that's half the size of ours with lower ceilings and more crap in it, which I don't know that that's really possible.
Yeah,
Look like an episode of The Hoarders.
Yeah.
The RC Hoarders. That's what we should change our name to. Brian
Yes.
Phillips, RC Hoarders. My fear is somebody's gonna get it and they're gonna crash it and it's gonna do okay and it'll fall to the ground. I am tempted to crash it on purpose just to show people it'll survive. But I don't know that I wanna crash it because I want it to fly.
It's really pretty.
It's so good. Okay, camera crew's gonna fly it now. You ready?
Oh,
she
no.
loves it when I put it on the spot. Okay, all right.
Oh, she does.
Go around there to the other side, camera crew. Do it. Okay.
Okay.
So we'll give them an ultra close-up. Man, that is so dang gorgeous. And people are like, okay, camera crew.
Okay, so if I hit the takeoff landing, do I need to arrest it or is it gonna be okay?
I'll come by you.
Okay, that's probably a
Okay,
good idea.
so what we're gonna do is we're gonna have you take off. So you ready? Just press take off and don't worry about arresting it. Okay, just down, down, down. Good job. Okay, now just push it away from you a little bit with your right stick. Okay, good job. Now just turn it around all the way 360 degrees. Okay. Okay, now let go of that turn. Pull back a little bit. It's fine. You just land it.
Okay, that's
Good job! You didn't crash!
Just land it on accident.
So the camera crew loves it when I force her to fly things.
Yes.
I didn't ask her in advance. She
No.
would have said no. So I went ahead and I just took one for the team, guys.
Great.
You're welcome. Okay, sticks down and out. Spin it up. First of all, that's sweet looking right there.
It is, yes.
Okay, so then up you go. And then I'm gonna roll out of that real quick. And I'm just gonna fly it. Okay, now if you're a reasonably good heli pilot, you're gonna have absolutely no problems flying this thing around the room. You'll be able to negotiate around and do what you need to do to keep this thing flying. But I just wanna warn you, like what happened to the camera crew, you might get in a situation where you're gonna feel, okay, this is the other thing we wanna demo.
Oh.
So as you can see, when you start getting a flashing light, it's gonna eventually land. So we wanna kind of see about how long this takes. So we're not trying to rush anything. We're not trying to cheat. We want you guys to see when it starts flashing, some of these helis give you no warning.
Yeah.
This one so far seems to be giving a pretty good amount of warning. So I'm gonna go up and do just a very simple circuit. I'm gonna just try to hold position. You guys see how hard it is to hold a position? Look at that. I'm like meters off of where I was. And that's what they're talking about, stay a meter back. Because it does take a pretty wide berth, okay? Still hasn't crashed, still hasn't landed, okay? So.
That's a pretty good amount of warning time.
See, it's just, the backward is where it gets you. Because the forward, it does pretty good. But the backward, not so much. And I gotta say, it's not dead yet. And then eventually it'll get to a point where it's like, no, I'm going to land and it will fall out of the sky. So let's put it in the limelight here. Should I fly around my balls quick?
Oh, you could.
Okay, let's see if I can make it all the way around my balls. Guys, I'm having to hold the stick up and it's losing altitude. That usually means it's gonna be falling soon. We'll go around the balls. One more orbit of my balls. That is so dang cool. I won't hit you, promise.
Okay.
It holds level really nice. It just, ooh. Are you gonna fall now? Boy, that is a long warning, guys. We're gonna get like minutes of warning. Oh, my stick is all the way up and I'm losing altitude. Oh no, oh, there it goes. Oh, we've hit critical mass. Okay, so as you can see, it goes to the high speed flash and then it's like, okay, no support to you.
Yep.
So first things first, when it's on the ground, you should be safe. Once it stops, you'll hear the motor shut off and then you're good to touch it and pick it up and handle it and stuff. But as you can see, we went into a high speed flash, very easy to see, very easy to respond. That was plenty of time. If we were flying outside and we were flying over water and the optical flow sensor was maybe a little bit confused, it might put you in a circumstance. Wind picks up and it wants to push away from you. You don't quite have enough. Make sure you speed 3. It's gonna give you the most speed, penetrate the wind the best. Remember, with small helis like this, you could only go as fast as you can go. And so it's possible that you'd have 5 or 6 or 7 mile an hour wind And you can't penetrate wind, so you actually fly backward under full forward control, okay? So that's something you have to watch out for. I'm sort of torn on this one a little bit in one way. And I just think that the stabilization and the actual execution of the flight is going to leave some people disappointed. But I don't think it's bad. And I also want to show you one other thing. If you have girls that live with you or men with long hair, I picked up a hair.
Already?
Well, I don't usually land on the
Carpet.
ground. That is so gross. You need to make our children wear hairnets.
Nope.
Okay, so as you can see, oh my goodness, is there another one in there? No way. No, there's not. Okay. So at the end of the day, is that a deal breaker? I don't think it should be for you. It's not for me, because when I get a little helicopter like this, I'm getting it because it's awesome and fun. I'm not getting it to learn to fly. I already kind of know how to fly. If you get this for a kid that doesn't know how to fly, you're gonna have to make sure that you have a little bit closer supervision, especially if you're the parent that knows how to fly, kind of like when the camera crew was flying. One of the things you can do is you can set them up for success by giving them a big open space. Like for instance, a garage, maybe pull the cars out of the garage, go out in the garage, close the garage door so you've got room to fly. You've got a relatively still environment. You could go into a basement that's an unfinished basement. You don't have to worry about damaging your wife's wall or her, flowers, or I was kind of nervous I was gonna hit one of those bushes.
Oh.
Because at the end of the day, when this starts to rock and gets sort of wonky, it doesn't always catch up to itself very quick. And so when you're more skilled, and I'm not a super good heli pilot, but I do have some practice with this, you know to let off and just kind of let it relax itself out. A lot of pilots would tend to over control into a crash, okay? So you're gonna freak out, you're gonna do this, and then it's gonna undo it, and it's not gonna quite respond the way you want, and you're gonna end up in a window or something like that. Ironically, this thing probably wouldn't even break the window, but you might break the heli. And we don't want you guys to have a bad experience, because here on Brian Phillips RC, we wanna help you guys have the best possible experience, whether it's buying this or a $1,500, airplane, helicopter, whatever it is. At the end of the day, we're here to serve the hobby interest by telling the full truth, nothing but the truth, so help us God. And I can tell you this, I think this is a helicopter for the everyday Joe with some precaution, okay? So just remember, if you don't know how to fly, you wanna give yourself as big an area. If you're flying in a gymnasium or something like that, you're gonna have tons of easy effort. You just stay away from the walls, you stay away from the net, you stay away from the other people, especially people's faces, whoo. And it's just a really fun option. Does it fly as good as the 206? I don't think so, but I'm gonna tell you this. In the small size class helis that we've done, and we've done a ton of them, that 206 is probably my favorite, best flying small heli. And we've done a lot of them. Branded in all the different brands, guys. They're all made in the same places. Okay, there's 2 or 3 factories that do it, okay? But I can tell you this, I love the looks. I love the fact that it flies, and that's really all I need to be happy, okay? Is it gonna be my last heli? No. Is it gonna be my most favorite heli? No. But do I really like it? Absolutely I do. And I think you will too. So check it out, links in the video description below. Obviously, when you're done flying, go ahead and pull out your battery. The way you're gonna do that is a reminder, press this down. You can either press and power this off now, and then pull it out, or you can actually pull this out and then power it up, power it off once you've pulled it out. Now, also, I gotta say, the battery on this particular heli is extremely easy to load, and that is not a detail to be overlooked, because when you deal with helicopters that have a pod and boom setup, it is possible that you're gonna spend a great deal of effort loading a battery. Now, I could show a competitive offering and loading a battery, and it's definitely gonna take more effort, but I think on this video, we're just gonna go ahead and charge our battery, because I would like to keep flying for fun off camera. And so this is how hard that's gonna be. Just in quick refresher, plug it in or plug it in to the wall first. Doesn't really matter what order you go in, but one suggestion, when you pull your battery out, and if it's too warm, go ahead and hold off on charging, okay? So if you pull this out and it's really toasty, just let it cool to room temperature and then go ahead and plug it into charge. Now, you don't need to make them cold to charge, but just don't let them be super hot. And they did a better job on this than they did on just about any one of them that we've seen in terms of air cooling, okay? That's the first time we've seen this detail. And if there's detail in other helis like this and we've missed it, my apologies, I haven't noticed it. So this is probably the first time I've ever seen this cutout detail right there, okay? All the way around that window, all the way around this window, all the way around this window, and all the way around this window, okay? So when you're running brushed motors, you need to have more air cooling, evidently. And just keep in mind, this is not gonna be the last helicopter, because once you get something like this, you're gonna want a bigger one and you're gonna wanna do more stuff with it. And that's a good reason to be in the hobby. So guys, thanks for watching our video. Hopefully we answered all your questions here on Brian Phillips RC. We try our best and we do a lot of it. So if this isn't your cup of tea, or you hear my concerns and you wanna try to, flesh those out with a couple of comparable options, look no further than brianphillipsrc.com. That's our website and domain. If you prefer the short link, you can just go to bprc.me and you can scroll over to the sort by type function we have, and you can find thousands of videos that are sorted into playlists right here on YouTube. But you can use our website to help find what you're looking for. Also, if you find something that's like, hey, I gotta have it even if I don't like the video, then just scroll down, find the video you want, and we have Buy It Now tags, and those things are just like clicking the links in the video description below. They'll take you to the website. You can review, see how much they cost, see how much the shipping might be, if there is shipping involved or if it's included, and then you can make your purchase decision there. Once you click the link, they'll know that we sent you there, and then they send us commissions. That's how that works, okay? So we don't want to pull any wool over anybody's eyes, and the truth is, I think this is probably going to make most people happy, okay? So get one. Check it out. Links are in the video description below. And then also, if you want other ways to support Brian Phillips RC, people do occasionally ask for this, and we really appreciate it. We're humbled and honored that people do this, but we have Patreon for monthly support. And if you're a Patreon member, we usually have a little easier communication because I can keep up with the small group of people that are supporters there. A lot easier than YouTube, where there's thousands and thousands of comments every week. I mean, tens of thousands some weeks. Okay, so if you're one of our supporters on Patreon, thanks. If you're one of our members on YouTube, thank you too. We do see those comments. I think they pop up a little bit earlier too. So we see them, we respond to them. We do a lot with regular comments too, but just keep in mind, guys, if you ask a highly technical question, I'll try to answer your highly technical question. It's just gonna take me away from the 400 other people that are asking the same questions. So maybe keep those for when they're real tough, and I'll do my best. And we help a lot of people that way. But there's only one of me, and camera crew helps me a lot, but it is pretty much impossible for us to keep up. We used to do 100%, we couldn't do it anymore. Not because we don't care, but because we physically don't have enough hours in the day.
And I can't answer highly technical questions.
That's right. But she does answer a lot of not highly technical questions.
That I can do.
That being said, there's also YouTube super thanks that we appreciate. They're one-time donations, also available at PayPal if you prefer to do it that way and you don't want to have Google involved at all. And by the way, Google takes a lot. They take like 30%, okay? So just so you know, YouTube members 30%, and then Patreon is like about 18% goes to Patreon. But I don't want to discourage anybody because there's like fee structures involved. We just like transparency here, and we try to be as transparent and forthright, because at the end of the day, we're working our tails off to make this aerodrome, to make this RC experience accessible to as many as possible. We want to drive down the cost by driving up the size of our group of interested people, okay? And that's our aim, one of our aims, but really the biggest is to get you out of the chair, into the air, by telling you guys the full truth so you can make your own mind up. We don't really care if you pick this one over something else. They do. RC Air wants you to pick this one. They want you to go to the website. They make a small profit margin more than if you buy from some other website that they're marketing this through. That's fine. We don't really care where you get it, just as long as you follow our links. And we really appreciate you guys helping to grow this hobby by telling your buddies about channels like ours, okay? And there's others that do a good job, but at the end of the day, obviously we want to promote our own, and we want your guys coming here, your friends coming here, because we're going to try to give you good information. At the end of the day, the best way we can do that is get people interested. Interested people buy helicopters, interested people buy airplanes, more legislative authority with bigger groups, drives down the cost, drives up the performance, we also have a small pull with these manufacturers because they ask our opinion about certain things. So that's one of the things that's really good about this, because, you know, we come on here, we share our opinions about stuff, and then we give feedback. If something sucked really bad, we let them know about it. We also tell you guys the truth about it, which means some manufacturers don't like to work with us because they're afraid we're going to tell the full truth, nothing but the truth, so help us God, about their crap. And you can help yourself by applying that to your decision making. I don't want to go any further, but some companies don't like the truth be told because they're just trying to lie to you. This thing is definitely good, but it's also imperfect, okay? So hopefully we hit on all the high notes so you can make your best decision. We're always going to be there for you as long as you keep coming back, and right now you're coming through, and we really appreciate that. Guys, quick update. Dam gift shop, okay, which sits next to the dam, and the dam runway, we might be starting as soon as next Thursday, meaning tomorrow is Sunday, or yeah, tomorrow is Sunday. So that could be as soon as 4 days, the first step of the dam gift shop. It's going to be super exciting. Guys, it is a huge, huge investment. Huge, huge, huge. So like whatever YouTube has earned us over the course of 10 years, it's going to be like many, many times that. And it's going to be awesome. And I cannot wait to share the experience with you. It's going to be super fun. Obviously, we've been doing crazy things for years now. And if it's not for seeing the latest and greatest stuff that's coming out, stay tuned for seeing that. It's going to be so much fun. And we want to, and by the way, special thanks to those of you that have come out and physically visited with us, flown here, and been in our subscriber specials. It's been super cool. We had a guy named Todd here just the other week, who is a commercial pilot flying for one of the carriers. I don't want to say which one. Went and picked him up, had a nice evening meal. Then we drove him and dumped him at his hotel. Then he spent the night and got up and flew airplanes. So it's really cool that we have real connections with real people all over planet Earth. And I'm not exaggerating, it's been amazing. And so we really appreciate you guys being there on the other side of the camera. So remember, we're real, we're really here, and I really go to a day job all week for 60 hours a week, and then come home and really do this for the balance of the week. And then sometimes I sleep. So there's so much more right around the corner, I promise. Stay tuned. Thanks for watching.